Hey everybody, how you doing? I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins from Your Black World and the Black Business School. You know what? I went to uh, this website for a school called the Ron Clark Academy. It looks like it's a school in Atlanta, and the school got a lot of attention because they had this really cool video of this teacher who was dancing with the kids, and they were kind of doing the Nae Nae and the D-Lo shuffle and stuff like that. And I guess that's what kids like to do, and it's fine. Kids like to dance, and and so people asked me about what I thought about it, whether I thought it was coonery, whether I thought it was brilliant of the teacher to get involved and engaged. And I had to really think about this, and I said, I don't know what to think. I don't know what to think about this video or about the school and just how it all kind of works. And so I looked at the school, I looked it up, and one thing I noticed was that I saw some other dance videos. The school apparently is pretty, if you go to their website, the first thing they show is some kids dancing. So it seems like dancing kind of is their theme, their way of kind of getting the attention of the students. And a lot of the students are black. A large percentage of the students are African American. In fact, I'm going to Google the Ron Clark Academy. I don't know who Ron Clark is per se, but I do know that it appears that the school is actually, doing a pretty good job of educating kids. They seem to care about the kids, or they seem to be innovative in their educational approach. And I applaud that. I really do. I think education is obviously the most important thing you can do in your life. If you're a black person, you walk away from education, you're kind of walking right towards slavery. Now, here's where my feelings got a little bit mixed. I was trying to really understand how can I analyze this in a way that's fair to those who are seeking to do good by the children, and also in a way that is fair to the sovereignty of the African American community. And what I mean by sovereignty is I'm talking about the ability to shape our own destiny, and the ability to kind of see, every situation within the proper context, historically and otherwise. And so I went to the school's website and I clicked on a link where they showed a picture of the board of trustees, and I saw a lot of white people. I saw a lot of white people and people who are not black, basically. And I saw a few black people in there, but I really almost couldn't help but wonder if they were strategically placed. I know the two founders were white. I saw a lot of the teachers. It appears a lot of the teachers were white. I wouldn't know. I don't know if it's the majority or not. I saw a lot of black teachers in there too. So this is not to say that they're excluding African Americans or anything like that. But I think that we know that black people are not driving the ship of this institution in terms of the money, in terms of the leadership. When I look at a picture here, I see a bunch of kids, cheering and screaming, and I see a white guy kind of standing out front. But at the same time, too, I see a lot. Now, it's interesting. In one of the pictures, I see a lot of kids who are not black, who are kind of in the background. But in the dance videos, I tend to see a lot of black kids. And I know that, I guess maybe somebody just said, well, black kids, they like to dance, so we're going to dance with them. Whatever it takes to get them to learn, we're going to have them dance. And I'm not saying that dancing is bad. There's nothing wrong with dancing. I think that the problem becomes when you see yourself mainly as a dancer, when you think that the only way you can engage in any kind of intellectual discourse is if somebody's playing a rap music video in the background. That's a problem. I mean, that really, I think, puts you into a box, denies you your humanity. I mean, what if you're the black kid in the class who doesn't want to dance? What if you just want to do science? What if you just want to learn math and history and or join the chess team? You're going to feel awkward. You're going to feel left out. You're going to feel like you're not black enough because you don't know how to, do the Nae Nae and all that stuff, right? And as you could tell, I can't do the Nae Nae, never could. I probably couldn't have did it when I was 10. And so, when I look at this school, and I say this to be as fair as possible, one of the things that I couldn't help but feel was that it reminded me a little bit of Imperialization. Back when you had whites that would go to Africa and be circled by a bunch of Africans, and their goal was to help them. Like they really wanted to help them. They weren't there because they wanted to hurt them in some cases. Sometimes they were. Sometimes they were there to exploit them and harm them. But I believe that there were missionaries and others who went to Africa because they really wanted to help. They really felt, hey, if we take these savages and we elevate them and we teach them religion and stuff like that, then they will become like us, which clearly is an improvement over who they are right now. Right? We're going to do their rituals. We're going to dance with them around the fire, or whatever it is, whatever they do, whatever the traditions are, and we're going to use that as an avenue to bring them to our way of thinking, to make them like us. And and again, I think that that people can be well intended, but you can also see how that can be a little bit paternalistic and a little bit problematic. Um, and so, what I really think about is I think about times where I've met good white folks who really wanted to help me. And I even include people like Rachel Dolezal in that category. I mean, it's so interesting that so many people in the black community were just mad at her, really angry at her. But I saw a woman who admired black people, admired us so much she wanted to be one of us. And I didn't get as offended by it, but a lot of people said, no, 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 she lied and she was deceptive and blah, blah, almost like they did something, almost like she did something to them. And I didn't understand that because I'm thinking, well, how can you be so mad at Rachel Dolezal for wanting to be black, for admiring black people that much, when you aren't going to be mad at the white teacher who is doing the Nae Nae because he wants black people, to be enamored with him, right? And I don't get mad at either one of them. I think the white teacher doing the Nae Nae, that maybe that's how he really thought he could connect to the kids. Like, oh, these black kids do the Nae Nae, so I'm going to do the Nae Nae with them, and they're going to think I'm cool, and therefore they're going to listen to me when I go talk about English, math, and science, etc. I get it. It makes sense. I mean, it's fine. But I think that the challenge is that we have to realize there's a thin line between people seeking to connect with you, to elevate you, and to improve your life versus people feeling that they need to educate you because you are incapable of educating yourself. Understand that in many cases, black people feel compelled to take help from whites because we don't believe that we're capable of helping ourselves. We're more grateful to whites who help us because we feel that we are so weak and pathetic that we can't do it on our own. And my question would be, if that black boy is trying to figure out how to become a black man and really fight racism, really stand up for his community, is a white teacher going to be as likely to tell him or to even know to tell him the things that he needs to know to be an empowered black man in this society? To be a strong father, to be a strong leader, to be the next Malcolm X. Can a white person teach a black boy to be the next Malcolm X? I would say honestly, there are white people who could probably teach that. I don't know. I mean, Dr. King had influences that went outside the African American community. So I'm not saying it's not true. I'm really processing this. I'm really trying to decide how I feel because I know, some people ask me about the school. So I said, let me check it out. They're obviously doing some amazing things. They're innovative. It looks like the funnest school in the country, and it looks like they're learning too. It looks like they're covering all their bases, and I respect that immensely. But I think that um, I think that where I kind of run into a brick wall is when I hear black folks who kind of say, "Well, they're educating black kids, and black people aren't doing it, or black people don't care about our kids, so we should be grateful that they care enough to educate our kids." And I don't like that. I don't like that very much. Because it's no different from somebody taking your kids out of your house and raising your children and saying, "Well, your own parents don't care about you, but we do." You want to be like us. You don't want to be like them because where you come from is not a very good place. We're here to elevate you. We're here to make you better because and making you better means making you more like us. And so again, this is no salt on Ron Clark Academy at all. I don't even know who Ron Clark is. I need to go look it up. He was obviously a person with a vision. He was a person who did something that many of us could do. I encourage black people to open schools and hire black teachers to educate black kids. I do believe that the skin color of the teacher does make a difference. I don't particularly know if you go to other countries, if you go to China, if they would want the majority of Chinese children to be educated by Americans. I really don't think. I think they would want them to learn something from Americans. but I don't think they would want them to be educated by Americans, because education is about more than just learning the fundamentals, the math and the science and stuff like that. It's about learning a culture. It's about learning a particular perspective on history and things like that. Eurocentrism is huge in our educational system, and so it's a rare situation when you're educated by a white person who doesn't somehow try to convince you subtly or directly that the white man is the center of the universe, and that the best you can do in your life is emulate him and be the first black person to do the thing that this other white guy did, right? And as opposed to being a continuation of thousands and thousands of great black people throughout history who've done amazing things already. You're not the first Negro anything. You are part of a lineage that goes back to for 100,000 years. So I think that becomes kind of the dilemma that we run into when you talk about other people educating our kids. I'm not opposed to it. I don't look at white teachers and want to kick them in the face and say, get out of the classroom. I don't do that. I can tell the teacher who cares about kids and those who don't. I met a lot of black teachers who don't give a damn about kids. And I met white teachers who truly tried their best. And the last thing I'll say on this is I remember when I went to this inner city school to speak, and it was a middle school in Syracuse, New York. And I don't remember the name of the school, but it was the most depressing, ugliest school I ever went to. I went, it was underfunded, just a mess. And I went in and they asked me, they said, Dr. Watkins, what do you think about our school? And I said, well, the school looks like a combination between a penitentiary and an insane asylum, and on a rainy day. And I said, if I had to go into a building like this every day, I would probably be depressed. And they said, well, you may not have noticed, Dr. Watkins, they were making a joke. They said, we're all white females and we teach majority black and brown kids, and we don't always know everything to do. And I said, yeah, well, a lot of the reason you don't know is because you never learned it. Some things you learn through life. Some things you learn about blackness by being black. Some things you can't learn about black people without being a black person. Our education on blackness is something that has occurred through literally tens of thousands of hours of training. Every day you're getting training on being black. So somebody can't go and take one class on African American history or get a degree in African American studies and know what it means to be black. So when you're talking about teaching a child how to be black in America, 99 times out of 100, a white person usually cannot do this. They can't. They can't. They can teach you a white person's perspective on being black. They can do what they can to teach you based on what they know. Like Tim Wise, the really brilliant white guy who goes around the country yelling at white people about racism. He does a good job in the sense of talking about racism from a white liberal perspective, without assuming that he's black, without assuming he knows enough about being black that he could teach a black kid how to be black. Um, and so maybe the answer is, it's the same as in the public school system. Maybe these kids, when they come home, their parents should be the one teaching them how to be black. But I personally think that we just have to really sort of think about who's teaching our kids, how they're teaching them, stuff like that. And again, I have no reason to believe Ron Clark Academy is not doing a great job. I love their innovation. I love the way they're marketing themselves through social media. Right now, it's looking like one of the hottest schools in the country, and I imagine their enrollment numbers are shooting through the roof, and they're getting all kinds of people trying to get into their school. But I would just dream of the day, one day, where black people don't feel that we are a charity case for benevolent white people. I don't want us to feel like, oh, we can't educate our kids without a corporate sponsor coming along and saving us, or without the government giving us a little bit of money, or without a smart, kind white person coming along and educating us ignorant Negroes. We should have sovereignty. Sovereignty means doing for yourself, building for yourself, creating for yourself, owning things for yourself. And that's something black people have yet to understand, because we are so accustomed to being dependent and so accustomed to disliking what we have to offer, and just having overwhelming appreciation for what's offered by other people. And so that's kind of the backdrop against which this academy is coming to existence. Because again, if you look at the board of directors and you look at the founders, you're seeing majority white people at this school. But you look at the student body, at least the ones who are dancing and doing the Nae Nae, all I saw were black kids doing the Nae Nae, except for the one white teacher. So in a way, it could be a little bit colonialistic in that regard. And I don't know. Here's what I think. I told you what I think, but I'm gonna tell you a little bit more about what I think. Basically, it almost seems to me that when you have a white person educating black children, these white folks probably care about these kids. I really feel like they do. I really feel like they're doing the best that they know how to do. But what happens when the value systems of the black children collide with the value systems of the white person in charge? Well, when that occurs, who's going to win that tug of war? It's going to be the person in charge, right? So in a way, it reminds me of when I watched that movie. I forgot what it was called. It was that movie about Floyd. I can't Floyd something who played at Syracuse, and he was a Heisman Trophy winner. And when he was at Syracuse, um, he had this really caring coach who was a white guy who said, "I want to give you a chance. You're black. I want you to be successful. I care about you. You can come to my house for dinner." So he did everything he could to be a good person. But when the time came for Floyd to when he said, as a black man, I want to participate in the civil rights march. I want to get out here and I want to fight with my brothers and sisters for equality for my people. His coach said, "No, no, no. You don't want to get involved in that. That'll ruin your football career. You want to do your talking on the field." So basically, the coach's interests exceeded his interest as a black man. The coach convinced him to remain silent, to not speak up, to not fight for his community, and to instead focus on what the coach wanted most, which was for him to be on the football field. Because last time I checked, carrying the football doesn't really do a whole lot of talking when it comes to civil rights and equality and all these other things. So, and I truly think that a black man who's gotten tens of thousands of hours of training on what it means to be black, the struggles of blackness, the importance of fighting for your blackness, would have given him different advice. He would have said, a football game's important, but there are some things more important than football, and the strength of your community is one of those things. That's the difference in terms of having a white mentor versus a black mentor. It doesn't mean the white mentor can't care. It doesn't mean he doesn't want to help and be as giving as he can be. But it does mean that sometimes there's a limitation in terms of how far he can go. So when stuff hits the wall, let's say racial tensions get strong and black folks are going in one direction, but yet you got these white folks who are making money from these black kids coming to the school every day. When their views collide, then the person paying the bills is going to be the one who makes the final decision. So that's what you kind of run into with these situations, and that's why I'm analyzing this framework. I'm not analyzing it in a way that says that that these people are bad, that they're hurting these kids. I don't feel that way. I don't feel like that they're trying to do this. I'm sure it's a great place to get an education. So don't go emailing me telling me that I'm hating on the Ron Clark Academy, because hey, that white dude doing the Nae Nae, he did a pretty good job. I got to give him props. All right, everybody. Well, I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins from Your Black World and the Black Business School. Please